Your mouth is busy, Michelle. You're in the middle. Sorry, you haven't thought this through.
Eavesdroppin.
Well, hello, Michelle.
Geordie. Hello. It's lovely to see your beautiful glowy face.
Oh, it's nice to see you as well. Now you're back in your hood after having a little jet across the world. You're back in Europe.
I am indeed. Australia, what a joy, what a pleasure. We're so lucky that we have two places we still call home.
Still cool, Australia, home.
Home.
That's the song, isn't it? By
It
Peter
is.
Yeah, yeah.
I have teared up to that before in times.
Have you?
Where I have. There was a time when I was so homesick and I put that on and I was like...
I went to, I think it was a Cambridge Folk Festival or WOMAD. I think it was WOMAD actually one year, many years ago. And Goanna performed. No, it wasn't Goanna. It was Archie Roach and his band. I don't know Archie Roach very well because I left Australia before he became popular.
Yeah.
And he was on stage and then they brought members of Goanna on and they did Solid Rock, Living on Sacred Ground. I was
Living
crying.
on
Borrowed time.
All of those political Aboriginal rights, First Nations rights, all of that.
Yindi.
Yothu Yindi, back in the day, you had Midnight Oil,
The Alls.
Beds Are Burning and all that kind of stuff. Was Beds Are Burning
Yeah.
their protest song? Yes.
Yeah. How can you sleep while the world is turning? How can you sleep while your bed is burnt? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know, but it was a time. It was the 80s. It was great. But Geordie, now I think it's time we introduce ourselves.
Oh, yes. It's Geordie here. Hello, I'm Geordie. This is the podcast Eavesdroppin.
It is. And I'm Michelle. And you're an eavesdropper because you're eavesdropping on us.
But that's okay. No one's going to tell you off. No one's going to slap you about the head. It's fine. We want you to.
Slap you around the head? Oh, my God.
I know. That was a bit violent.
Have you ever done that when you've known someone's eavesdropping on you?
Stop listening. Whack. No, I haven't. I keep my hands to myself, Michelle.
I remember being a child on an action bus in Canberra when I was growing up. I was talking to my friend on the bus. I couldn't have been more than 12 max.
Yeah.
The lady behind me tapped on my shoulder. Clearly she was an eavesdropper. And she said, "You girls have got verbal diarrhea."
Oh, my God. Mind your own bloody beeswax, bitch. Wow.
I know.
Verbal diarrhea. Well, you do, but that's none of her business.
I know, but it was funny because she said diarrhea.
Diarrhea.
We just couldn't stop laughing, which obviously incensed her even more.
Serves her right for butting on two excitable little girls on a day trip to town to go and buy themselves some jelly bracelets or jelly sandals or toothbrush earrings.
Yeah, my God, the clowns with the clown earrings with the movable legs.
Dangling clowns. But listen, back to you guys, eavesdroppers. Yes, we are Michelle and Geordie. We are friends. We're going to talk away about things ranging from supernatural, real life, true crime. This week it's supernatural, I believe. And we also have a lot of fans. We talk about them. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean that you can't get to know them. We asked recently for people to write in about their celebrity hall passes and they did in their droves. Well, they did in their couples.
Thruples.
We have Safka. You know, I said on the episode that we did with the midlifers that I found it very hard to come up with people that I fancy now or fancied because I'm my head's not in the game anymore. I forgot Matt Dillon. I loved Matt Dillon.
God.
For years. In fact, I still do. He's aged well, like a fine wine.
When I was in Australia recently, my sister's girls did Face App and all that shit, all the filters from TikTok on me. They did one where they turned me into a dude and I looked like Matt Dillon and I was like,
no way.
I'm fucking hot. I would totally date that guy. I've got cheekbones. I'll put it on the Patreon.
Okay.
Is it wrong to be kind of like
in love with yourself?
Fancy
as a
yourself
man?
to think you're the hottest version of your male self?
Yeah, you got to love your whole self, Michelle. More on that later. But Safka's hall passes. Now, for some reason, she says, maybe you can help me out here, Michelle. She says she loves Caitlin Doherty or Caitlin Doherty. I don't know how you pronounce that. And why is she mentioning that? Have we mentioned it? She said she has all her books and watches her YouTubes. I don't know who Caitlin Doherty is or Doherty.
Let me look that up.
Yeah. I don't know why she's mentioned it either. I'm a bit confused. Maybe you mentioned it. Maybe I did. And I've forgotten. Sorry, Safka. But her hall passes are Debbie Harry, Stevie Nicks, David Bowie, Mark Bolan, Ian Astbury, John Cusack, wild card. How's he getting there? And Tim Curry as Frankenfurter. I get it. She's also got Pete Murphy and Gary Oldman, which is fair. And then she added about 3 or 4 days later, Noel Fielding, which you used to love.
I did. I used to absolutely fancy the pants of him. But then he got a little bit fat.
Well, he's aged, darling.
I know. Look, we all have.
But Safka's choices are very gothic stroke glam. So we get your look, Safka. Absolutely. What I don't get is John Cusack. I don't know how he fits in there. Then Shari wrote in and said she didn't really need to tell me her whole past because we all know how much she adores Cillian Murphy. Yes. Thanks to the episode we did on Peaky Blinders some time back.
Yes, because I was obsessed with Peaky Blinders. And I know I say my ex used to look like him.
Oh, no.
Not anymore.
So her dead one. You've asked about a dead one as well. Yeah, yes. David Bowie. He's now on both their lists.
Oh, lovely.
And then she sent me a video of Matt Berry, which I couldn't open. Sorry, Shari. I couldn't open it. And then all sorts of things happened and I had to restart my Instagram. But it was for you, Michelle, because that's your hall pass.
It is.
Matt Berry from Toast and the IT Crowd and What They Do in the Shadows.
Maybe that could be my new celebrity spit roast. Matt Berry on one end. Oof. Ricky Gervais on the other, and Noel Fielding watching.
You can't participate.
Putting the apple in my mouth.
Put the apple in your mouth. Your mouth is busy, Michelle. You're in the middle. Sorry, you haven't thought this through.
Oh my God.
But then, Michelle, you asked, or I asked, somebody asked on this podcast about the celebrity spots. We've been asking for weeks and people haven't really written in apart from Charlene. She sees people in the supermarket. Now, I remembered that I had the actor John Altman, who is also known as Nasty Nick Cotton from EastEnders, on my driveway when he came a-courting my friend one day, a couple of years ago. I'd forgotten this. I think I've mentioned it. So I made my husband clear the driveway because I knew he'd have a nice car, and he did. And he drove up onto the driveway, and my friend Ren was staying with me, who has her own many fantastic celebrity spot stories and more, but we're not going to go there today. But Ren and I were giving him the once over while my friend was getting ready for her date with him. He's a very nice man.
Great. Well, that reminds me of the time back in the day when I was on the apps, the dating apps. You might remember this. I went on a really bad date. It was horrible. I felt really a bit nervous. He made me feel uncomfortable and unsettled. Turns out he was an ex-one-hit wonder boy band lead singer. Do you remember this one?
Yeah, vaguely. What was the band? Can we name him?
I don't even remember. I've erased this guy's name.
No.
I bet I could find it if I went through my phone. He got pissed off because he wanted to show off. So he took me to karaoke in Soho. And he got up and he was doing all this. And then I got up and sang and he was pissed off because he was like, well, you didn't tell me you could sing. Yeah, and then he got grumpy. End of date. Thank God.
Wow.
It was
That's
awful.
Horrible.
Really scary. Yeah, not nice. Semi-famous.
He only had a semi. Well, I had an interesting shopping trip on Monday, actually, in my local massive Sainsbury's, which is just on the outskirts of Greater London. It's where all the footballers live. It's quite a cute little village. I'm not going to name it. I was in the chicken aisle and I noticed a man standing in front of me. His head was in the way, actually, and I thought, oh, eccentric. But then I saw him again in another aisle, Michelle, and it was only bloody Mick Hucknall of Simply Red.
No!
Yes. And then I saw him in another bloody aisle. And then I got embarrassed because there he was again in the next aisle. I had to shake him off, Michelle. I had to run down to Crisps and Sweets where I guarantee he wouldn't be because he was in the fancy bits.
Right.
And then I thought, thank God I've shaken off Mick Hucknall so he doesn't think I'm stalking him because I was getting embarrassed. I thought maybe he might think I'm following him.
He was waiting for you to say, excuse me, are you Mick Hucknall? Can I have your autograph? Can you sign my chicken?
That is not what I... Sign my
Can you sign my chook?
Excuse your head, please, Mick. I just want to get a chook for you to sign. No, that's not what happened. I was doing my best to get out of there. I didn't want him to think that I was chasing him. But of course, I used the auto checkouts. I always have problems with that. Who was next to me but fucking Mick Hucknall right next to me? And I thought, here we go. I'm going to have problems. I'm going to make a fuss because I always do when I'm here. But luckily, mine went through really easily. But he had to get the lady over because he said, I'm being penalised for bringing my own bag. He had his own massive kind of like Ibethan tote made of straw, you see. And I realised he had glasses, he had the cap, he had the curls coming out the back. Yeah, it was definitely Mick Hucknall, for sure. And then I heard his accent. It was him. So at this point, I'm thinking, oh, God, now he thinks he's got a stalker.
So he spoke to you?
No, to the lady. I was right next to him.
Oh, I thought he turned to you and said, oh, they're penalising me for my straw bag.
No, we didn't speak to each other. I pegged it out of there thinking, get me the fuck away. I don't want him thinking I'm a massive fan and I'm following him. Who's parked next to me, Michelle?
Oh my God.
Are you kidding? This is a huge car park. So I'm getting as fast as I can. I'm trying to go fast. And off I go.
Yeah.
He's got a nice car, by the way.
Okay.
It's a lovely matte blue. I shouldn't say much more than that. It's a sports car. Very nice. So I'm taking off because I didn't want to be following him home.
Right.
So off I went. And he was right up my arse, Michelle. Figuratively, not literally. I was like, back off, Mick. And then I turned back onto the motorway. He went down into the fancy village.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God. That was my celebrity spot for the week. Quite a good one.
Wonderful. I'm surprised you didn't turn to him when all the ruckus at the till was happening.
I didn't want him to think, oh, hi, Mick. I've been following you all the way down the deli aisles.
But you didn't turn to him and say, money's too tight to mention. That was your moment.
I could have done because it was in my head all the way home.
I love that. Okay. If you can top Geordie's Mick Hucknall, not a fucking Huggies. No hugging going on here.
No.
Mick Hucknall. If you can top Geordie's Mick Hucknall story, do write in.
Do write in. I think I've got quite a lot of celebs, just on the outskirts of my part of London.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite fancy around where I am,
Oh,
really.
yes, of course.
Not skiting or anything.
Well, you've got the old washed up ones who have their money and they want a nice, quiet life.
That's right. I've got a lot of ex-EastEnders. We've got, as I said before, Nasty Nick. Our famous one, I'm going to give away where I live now, is Janine from EastEnders, if you know who she is. She's very famous for living in our area.
I think you've mentioned that before.
Yeah, I've seen her at the train station. Moving on, what are we talking about this week, Michelle?
Guardian angels.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm sort of looking more at the nitty-gritty of guardian angels. Not that I'm sure that anyone really knows, because unless you've actually been to the other side, is it all just speculation, Geordie?
Well, exactly. I had a flick through the Chambers Dictionary, by the way, and it's interesting that they call them either guardian angels / spirits.
Oh, okay.
Because maybe we don't all believe in angels.
That's true. I like that you can rebrand to whatever you like, because some people just believe it's spirit. Other people think it's a guardian angel. A guide, yes, a spirit guide. I think it's all one and the same.
I feel like it is.
But if you don't think so, do write in. Now, I would actually like to think that we do have someone watching over us. And I definitely know in my life there have been times where I've actually heard a voice.
Heard?
Telling me.
Really?
Yes, to do something
do that.
that I believe.
Or do it.
I may as well say them. I think I've mentioned both of these, and I think they are my guardian angels telling me. It was a good 10 plus years ago. I was in Australia. I'd met up in Sydney with my friend Felicity. She was living there at the time. We'd had this great night at her place. It was in the inner west of Sydney, and I had called a cab. I was waiting for my taxi. As you do in Australia, I don't know why, but we all just kind of sit in the gutter on the road and just wait for taxis. She sat down first and then I sat down and...
I would never sit down in the gutter in London.
Oh, I'm a gutter bitch. No, not in London. No fucking way.
Were you going to say you're a gutter bitch?
Yes, I was.
Good to know. Self-proclaimed.
I know. Some of us are in the gutter, but we're all looking up at the stars.
Thank you, Oscar Wilde.
I was sitting in the gutter with my friend. I'd only just got off the plane a day earlier and I hadn't emptied my bag.
Right.
It was a big bag. It had my passport, all my cards, my money, shoes. It was massive. I'm sitting there chatting to her. And then as clear as day and loud, I hear this voice say, "Watch your bag." Really like that. It was kind of an angry, urgent, not angry. It was an urgent voice. "Watch your bag."
Was it your own inner voice?
No, because I had my back towards whatever. I was like, what the fuck was that? And I looked around because I had my bag next to me. I didn't have it on my shoulder or anything. This guy came up and said, oh, hi, ladies. Have you got the time?
Oh, that old chestnut.
And I said, oh, no, I don't have a watch. Anyway, he grabs my bag and I was like, oh, my God. And he runs off down the end of the street where there's a car waiting for him. So completely orchestrated. They'd seen us. I was bullshit. I ran after him. And I was like, give me back my bag. As he was getting into the car, because I'm fast, I caught up to him. He was getting into the car. The window was down. I leaned into the window and I was like, give me my bag. Give me my bag. And he's like, drive.
Far out.
I know. I kind of got
dragged along the street.
A little bit, but I let go and the car drove off. And I was just in floods of tears.
God, that's traumatic.
Yes, went down to the police station, reported it. In the days that followed, they found my bag had been chucked out with nothing left in it. But the awful thing about this story is that night, 3 other girls had been robbed, but this time they'd obviously gone into the boot of their stolen car and they found a tire iron and they had bashed the other 2 girls.
Oh, God.
And I, to this day, wonder if it's because I chased them.
Yeah.
And I maybe should not, because maybe those girls...
You can't take responsibility for their actions. It's unfortunate.
I feel like maybe I should have just let them take it. It was just that it had everything in there, the passport, everything. If it had just had wallet and keys, whatever.
Yeah, but the passport's a bitch to replace.
Yeah, when you're on like a short holiday.
Yeah.
And then the other time was a happier time. I was in Zermatt. I was visiting my friend. It was my second time to Zermatt. I was at a nightclub. My friend had gone off shagging her boyfriend, so I was on my own. And she told me about this guy that she'd met, and I had met him very briefly on the mountain. I thought, oh, he's cute. Didn't think anything more of it. And then I'd gone out drinking. I got really drunk on vodka. I was singing karaoke and this guy was like, come with me. Let's go to another bar. And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Oh my God.
He dragged me off to this other bar. We went downstairs and he went off to get booze, like drinks for us.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this voice said, turn around. He's in the corner.
Wow.
And this is a rammed bar, like rammed at, 2 a.m. I turn around, there's Andreas.
Oh.
I looked and I went up to him and I was like, hi, do you remember me? And he said, no. And I said, I'm Chantel's friend. Don't you recognize me? I haven't got my sunglasses on. And he was like, oh, hi. Anyway, within 2 minutes, we were snogging each other's faces off.
Aww.
The guy who obviously thought he was going to get lucky came over with the drinks. And I was like, thanks. And then just kept kissing Andreas.
You bitch.
But honestly, I don't believe I would have seen him in that bar if I hadn't had this guardian angel voice saying, turn around.
You've got a strong inner voice there, Michelle.
Is it my inner voice or is it a guardian angel?
That's the thing.
Aside from my kind of experiences, I wanted to look at a few questions I had about guardian angels. So here are some ideas about guardian angels who, according to a lot of different beliefs, religions and cultures, they do walk with us through life. Guardian angels are spiritual beings that apparently protect and guide us. It's also thought that guardian angels choose us. And according to a channeled message from Archangel Uriel, I don't know who that is, but I found it on a website called The Angel Writer. They say, quote, your leading guardian angels are yours and yours alone. They walk through life with you from incarnation and are not shared with anyone else. So their only job, apparently, is to help us out of pure love and devotion. And guardian angels offer protection and guidance, and they give us messages. Obviously, I think I got 2.
You've received.
They apparently encourage us and strengthen us through life's challenges. And loads of people say they get signs of their guardian angels. Just go on Reddit.
Oh, yeah, it's filled.
Yeah, there's like bucket loads of people talking about their signs that they get from their guardian angels. Signs that your guardian angel is with you are things like a sudden sense of peace or an unexplained feeling of comfort during difficult times, or physical signs like finding a feather or hearing a song on the radio that really speaks to you when you're thinking about a specific thing, or seeing something that is very specific to someone you're thinking about. We've talked about stuff like this before.
It's like coincidence.
Yes,
yeah.
We've said, is it coincidence? Obviously, There are some people that get actually physically moved by their angels, or like me, they hear a voice telling them to do something. This normally happens in times of like crisis or danger. But obviously I had one which was like, turn around, the guy you're going to be with is in the corner.
Yeah, this is going to change your life.
Look, I actually read a comment on a YouTube video from Lean Scott 866, who wrote, and I quote, "I was leaving a new job one evening. It was a clear summer's day. I just remember coming down to the corner across from the rail station. I was nudged, or something like that, to turn left rather than right at the corner. Then I heard a crash on the sidewalk behind me. Someone had pushed some kind of office machine out of a second or third story window, landing where I would have been right then had I gone the other way."
Oh my God.
And they attribute that kind of nudge to their guardian angel looking out for them.
Yes, of course. Well, that sort of thing does make you question.
Stories like that are all over the internet. There's also apparently a thing called the third man factor, which is where people in extreme situations, like being stuck on a mountain or lost in the wilderness or some kind of life-threatening circumstance, they say that some unseen presence gives them guidance and comfort.
Right.
And whether that's a guardian angel or this third man, I wonder if that's just another name for what we had talked about earlier. But whether you're looking at the idea of guardian angels through the lens of faith, because again, go online and a lot of religious websites talk about guardian angels. And I think it's very specific to angels.
To Christianity.
Yes, and a lot of stories. But whether you're looking at it through the eyes of faith or personal experience or a psychological phenomena or danger or trauma kind of scenarios, the concept of guardian angels seems to be a thing, with loads of people saying they've received comfort and guidance and help out of a dangerous situation they didn't even know they were in from their guardian angel. I think at the very least they feel that they have a positive and caring presence watching over them and a feeling that they're not alone. Come to think of it, Geordie, having read loads and loads of first-hand testimonies from people, I actually didn't read any where it was malevolent.
Right.
These were all positive.
They were angels, not demons.
Yes, they weren't guardian demons. That's exactly it. But in my research, I found an Irish mystic from County Kildare. Do you like that?
Yeah, okay. I'll allow it.
This lady's called Lorna Byrne, and she's all about the guardian angels. In fact, she wrote a Sunday Times #1 best-selling book called Angels in My Hair. She's a world-renowned spiritual teacher, and in 2019, she was named by, I don't know who this is, but Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine as one of the 100 most spiritually influential living people in the world.
Wow, Lorna, that's some accolade.
And apparently her encounters with guardian angels began when she was 2, when she saw her parents' guardian angels behind them.
No.
She claims to have continued to see and communicate with angels throughout her life, like daily. She sees them everywhere, including guardian angels telling her about her husband's impending death.
Oh, no.
And she says these guardian angels have guided her through her various life events. They've given her information about her future. Like I said, the death of her husband, but also they told her she was going to write a best-selling book. And she was like, I don't think so because I'm illiterate. She can't write or read, and she's dyslexic. So she wrote this book only a few years ago using AI and voice to speech technology. So for a long time, she was like, guardian angels, bullshit. That was not true, but actually all of these things came true. Quite frankly, my guardian angel, if you're hearing me now, give me the Tats Lotto numbers. That's what I'd like. So I turned to Lorna to see what she thinks of angels. Specifically, who are these angels? And in a nutshell, she says a guardian angel is ours and ours only, not shared with anyone else. And the angel, apparently, according to her, like your specific one, was created a long time ago. And the moment your soul was created, your guardian angel was given the job of being with you for life and beyond.
Okay.
And no, your guardian angel is not your grandmother or your friend who passed away. Their soul might be around you sometimes, maybe that's what you're feeling if you ever think, oh, maybe that's Nana looking over me. But your actual guardian angel is something entirely different and is completely yours and yours alone. And this guardian angel loves you unconditionally, no matter what. And it sees all the amazing things about you, even the stuff that you don't see in yourself. And when you fuck things up, it does not judge you. It just wants to help you do better if you can. The other thing is your angel is not male or female. But if you want them to be one or the other, they will show up in a way that comforts you. They just want to make you happy. They really love it when you talk to them. And you can talk to your angel about anything. Good stuff, stupid stuff, dumb stuff, doesn't matter. They're listening. Just like us here at Eavesdroppin. Your guardian angel loves it when you write in or shares a story or talks to them.
Well, they reach out on social media.
They might reach out, yes. They could send you a sign on social media.
Okay.
You can ask. And your guardian angel is with you right now, always. And you are never alone. And I think that provides comfort to some people, which on one hand is all fine and good. But how do you know your guardian angel is giving you a sign? And is it really a sign or is it just wishful thinking? Because we've also talked about signs from spirits, about birds coming in and that kind of thing. And are there signs from our guardian angels that we are not seeing? And should we ask for a sign to prove they're there? According to Lorna, one of the most common signs people talk about is feathers.
Yes.
Lorna Byrne is all about the feather as a sign.
Right, yeah.
I'm not so into that because obviously I've had 2 audio kind of signs, but they were very, very prescient signs. There are signs every day, small signs, and I don't think I'm seeing those signs. You have to be looking for them. And she has this anecdote that she was with a friend she was walking with who'd said she'd been asking her angel for a feather all week and she hadn't seen one. And apparently, right as she was saying this, a feather floated down from nowhere and landed on the ground.
Wow.
And this woman didn't see it, stepped on it.
What?
Lorna says that's a perfect example of how we miss signs when you're looking too hard for them.
Yeah, yeah.
She also says not to ask for loads of different signs at once and that it's better just to ask for one and really pay attention. It apparently helps to ask yourself, what did I actually ask for a sign about? Because the meaning of the sign is tied to that, not what the sign itself looks like. The sign might not be a physical object at all. It could be a person saying something kind to you or something going really well for you.
Right.
For example, on YouTube, Maruka9712 said, one day I was upset because I couldn't feel my guardian angel with me. So I told him, her,
They, them.
let me hear the word angel today from a person. Not on the TV, not on the computer, but from a real person. And then
Out of
she said,
someone's mouth.
and you're going to have a really hard time today because I'm not leaving the house. I'm not going out. So she says, I went about doing my chores, forgot all about it, and many hours later, the bell rings. It was my neighbour who came to return some money he owed me. We chatted a little bit, and then he said, oh, goodbye, and by the way, thanks, you're an angel. So I think these things can come in strange ways, and we miss signs all the time.
You need to leave yourself open to receive those things.
Yes, exactly. I always think signs can also come in, it's not a negative, but it's kind of like an anti-sign. Like maybe your bus got delayed, or maybe you didn't get the car spot you wanted, or you took a wrong turn. Mm-hmm. And when shit like that happens to me, I get pissed off because I'm like, oh, fuck it, now I'm late, or oh my God, I'm never going to find a car space. But actually I should be flipping that around and thinking, okay, maybe I took that wrong turn because I'm being saved from some shit happening to me that's worse. And then I chill out a little bit and then just go out with whatever.
Okay. Chilling out is always good.
Yes. Thanks. Lorna says the key to seeing the signs is to, like you said, be open, slow down. And when you notice a sign, even if it's small, smile, because that is your angel showing up for you. So ask for a sign.
Okay.
It's allowed because your guardian angel wants to connect with you.
I like it.
And here are some other ways that Lorna suggests to help you connect with your guardian angel. 1, write a letter. Just grab a pen and paper or sit down at your laptop and just pour your heart out. Ask them to help you feel their presence. Mm-hmm. And you can ask them for physical signs, like ask them to feel their hands on your shoulders.
Wow. That might be a bit freaky.
I don't know. It could be comforting, but could also be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Or a physical sensation somewhere in your body. I don't know what that means, but maybe like a little tingle or a little shiver when they're near to you.
Yeah.
And this apparently opens up your heart, which is all they need. They just need you to be open.
Okay.
And then 2, pay attention to gentle nudges. And what that can also mean is listen to those thoughts that pop into your head, like go for a walk or text that friend.
Yeah.
She says that's often your guardian angel guiding you. It's subtle, but it's a real thing, especially if it comes with a feeling of like peace or love. But I will say, if your thought feels angry or selfish, that's not your guardian angel.
What's that? Your devil?
That's just you being a bitch. I said that, not Lorna.
Gotcha.
Because guardian angels will only ever guide you with kindness.
Not the anger, not the frustration.
No. And then 3 is practice listening in nature. Because apparently when you're out in nature, it's one of the easiest places to sense your angel. So go for a walk. Instead of kind of choosing your route, maybe you can ask, which way should I go? And then follow the first thought that you get. Don't overthink it, just follow.
I let my dog do that for me when we go on walks.
Little angel doggy.
Yeah, she's real, but yeah.
Oh, sweet. Well, Lorna says that doing small things like, which way should I go? It's a small thing, but doing it is practice for bigger things that come. So you're kind of in the flow of it. And then she says, keep your eyes and your heart open, because you might ask to see a butterfly and feel kind of disappointed if it doesn't show up immediately. But maybe there is one, but you just didn't see it. Yeah. It's sitting on a leaf instead of a flower. You were expecting something else. So just keep your mind and your eyes open. And this is interesting. She says, don't ever say, I'm struggling. Lorna says, you got to drop that phrase from your vocab and instead say, I'm learning.
Okay.
Because every time you listen, trust, or act on that inner nudge, you are building your connection to your guardian angel. And even small things like getting an inspiration to search for something on the internet that feels unconnected to anything, when something inside tells you to, it's a lesson from your angel to just go with things. Although I think there is a line between your guardian angel's guidance and procrastination. This thing with I'm struggling, I think what she means by that is don't put a negative on it. Always keep it positive and open.
This is all very good advice, Lorna, and whether or not you believe in angels or not, I think it's good advice to follow just because it helps with emotional regulation for a start and radical acceptance. 2 things which they teach you in psychology and I've been trained to deliver as a counsellor. They're great things to have in your tool bag, really, when you become overwhelmed or if you are struggling. I'm not struggling, I'm learning. It's a good way to bring yourself back down out of being hyper tense and freaking out. Get yourself back in your little window of tolerance.
And I think it reframes it into a positive experience.
Reframing, CBT technique. Fantastic. So it's up to you whether or not you want to frame it as an angel, but actually these things in the real world, not the metaphysical, but the actual physical, are really handy to have and to practice daily, whether or not you believe in these otherworldly things or not.
Well, if you do believe you have a guardian angel, what she says is be persistent and just ask for things. Ask to talk to them. Keep talking to your guardian angel. You have to show up and stay alert, stay open, and stay loving. I know we asked for stories from our eavesdroppers.
Yes, we did.
And I did get one from our lovely, gorgeous eavesdropper, Lucy Beacon. Shout out, Lucy.
Shout out.
Now, she had sent me this quite some time ago and may have mentioned it before, but I'm going to read it again. She says, one morning I woke up as someone was knocking on the door. I got up, opened the door, and a policeman was there. He stepped into the hallway, then turned into an archangel and said the following to me. Chill the fuck out. He then said he'd be watching me to check that I did, turned into a shadow on the wall, and then disappeared.
And this all happened in real, she was not dreaming this.
She said it was the most incredible, realistic dream or visitation that I have ever had. If I wasn't of a more scientific mind, I'd swear it was real.
Lucy, do you want your Chambers dictionary back? Your sister gave it to us, but you might want to hang on to it.
Well, also, my question to you, darling Lucy, is Did you chill the fuck out? And did it help you? Did the angel's advice help you? Do right in.
Do right in.
I had a couple of little anecdotes from the internet that I will finish with. And this one is from LMNOQ. Oh, fuck it. I don't know.
What?
Anyway.
No, that's the alphabet.
I know, but it's their handle.
Fuck off.
It says, I'm from India. When I was maybe around 6 or 7 years old, I was trying to pull water from a well, and because of my body weight, my feet went up from the ground, and I was about to fall inside, but someone grabbed me and pulled me out. I turned around. There was no one there.
Oh.
Guardian angel. And this one is from Paul Morg 3837. I guess it's a he. Says, years ago, I was about to turn past a car on my motorcycle. A very clear male voice said, Paul, don't. It was a suggestion, not an order. I said it more like an order.
You did.
So free choice. He says, well, I was stunned, but I didn't pass that car. That car then suddenly veered to where I would have been, most likely causing me to crash into it and the barrier.
Yeah.
My logical self tried to figure out where the voice came from. There was no one nearby and definitely no one that knew my name.
That's very shocking, isn't it, in the aftermath of something like that, for that voice to be resonating in your head.
And I've got a few that I will put on the Patreon, so do sign up.
Yes. Also, you know what, Michelle? Guess who got in touch? A very popular lady right now in Australia, Tameera, our modern mystic, the modern mystic. She got in touch because, of course, she's got stories about angels as well. And not only that, listeners, but Tameera has been all over Australian media at the moment. So you need to go on the Patreon to find links to her recent Crikey interview. And then she was on the bloody radio, Double J. Isn't that fun?
Oh, wonderful.
So I've sent you all the links to put up. She's in demand.
Hello, Geordie, and hello, Michelle, at my very favourite show, Eavesdroppin, your modern mystic reporting in with an important Archangel story. And I'm going to share with you Archangel Michael. He is known as the protector. He comes with huge wings and a sword, and he's known for his role in battling evil and defending the faithful and guiding souls to heaven. He's a really powerful energy to call in if you're going through a tough time, if you're wanting to have some extra protection, or if you're wanting to cut through a little bit of stagnant energy that has not been moving forward. And so I'm coming back to a family that I went to do a reading for with astrology, numerology and some intuitive guidance, and the mom had said that her son was going through a heavy and intense experience. I arrived and I was made aware that her son had been the designated driver and had 2 or 3 of his friends in the car, and they'd all been drinking. He had basically been speeding and I think hit a pole. They all died in the car, and he was basically going to jail for manslaughter. This poor kid, I think he might have been around 21 and had some serious stuff to go through with losing his best friends and serving jail time. He was really, really open to receive guidance, and so I looked at his astrology and I looked at his numerology, and his mom, God bless her, really wanted to have the best experience for her son, and obviously he was incredibly sorry for what had happened, and that he had from this experience really started to turn his life around. So I was living a little bit in the fast lane, and there might have been a bit of drugs and things like this involved, which was teenage, early 20s, just that sort of lifestyle. And he had a long time potentially to be serving in jail from this really horrific night. When I looked at his energy and I was sharing about his strengths and about some of the cycles that he was going through at that time, and I actually had a vision coming through for Archangel Michael, and he just showed up really, really strongly when I was connecting in. When I got home, I have this very beautiful Archangel Michael cross, which I'll send you a picture of. It was literally very much stuck on my wall with a nail and and no winds blowing through. But when I got home, that picture was laying on my floor. So I messaged the mum, and she had replied back and said, look, her son was just so grateful to receive the guidance, to understand a little bit more about himself and his journey, and about just looking at life from a different perspective. And I shared with the Archangel Michael and some of the strengths that he carried, and that might be good for her son to meditate on and to bring into, this new chapter that he was going into his life. And she came back to me, I think about a couple of months later, and her son, he had to go through the court system. And during this time, through this couple of months, he actually got his whole back tattooed with Archangel Michael. He had messaged me and just shared that through this experience of understanding himself more on that spiritual level, but also just having that divine guidance around that, he had really turned his life around. So that was just a really interesting story that I wanted to share with you, and I will speak to you soon. Lots of love.
That's quite a heavy story from one of her clients, and I'm sure she's kept it fairly anonymous so as not to break confidentiality. But she got messages, and that message resonated with that man who was about to face a complete change
jail
in his
time.
life. Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting. Thank you, Tameera, for that. Tameera, modern mystic. She's intuitive, and she reaches doesn't know. She's mystic. Oh. So I went to a sound bath last night, Michelle. I've been going. I go every month. It's my self-care.
Oh.
It really resonated. This time it was the first one that wasn't freezing cold. It was light throughout as well, because it's at a farm. You can see rolling hills and the sun sets where you're facing. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it was at the full moon, Scorpio full moon, and it was a fire ceremony. So we had written things we wanted to release and let go of, and we did some singing around the fire beforehand. My husband was loving it, not only guy there. And there was a bit of movement as well, so shake off all the old energy. But then, we went into our lying down position, comfy, cozy, lots of lovely smells and sounds going on for the journey. And it was amazing. Some of the sounds really affected my body. I could feel it, and I was still throughout. But she did mention, our lady who took us on the journey, mentioned guides, spirit guides, animal guides, and angels. She mentioned angels quite a bit. And like you said before, we did put a call out to people to write in about their experiences from guardian angels, and we will put some of those up on the Patreon. But I wanted to talk about the whole idea of guardian angels and spirits and things, and the idea of being watched over, being comforting, especially if it's somebody that you think loved and cared for you when you were living. And you've just said that Lorna, the Irish lady who wrote that book, says it's not your nana. But as an aside, actually, have you ever dreamt about people that have died? And then it's been like you feel like you're actually talking to them and they have died, but they're there in front of you.
Yes.
It's amazing, isn't it? I wonder about that sometimes, whether that is some sort of communication with the dead.
Maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. It always feels very real, but I've also had some shocking, weird dreams where it's like screaming and scary.
Oh my God. Why?
Not so much talking to the dead, but when I'm about to die.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I'm screaming to someone and I don't know who it is.
For help.
Well, I'm about to die. Fuck, like screaming and running.
God.
And yeah, they're really
That's a lot of anxiety.
awful dreams. Horrible dreams. I wake up just exhausted.
I'm not surprised. But going back to guardian angels, I have only really had one experience that has made me think that I possibly have been guided. And that was about 20 years ago. I was cooking in my tiny kitchen in South London. I was finishing off a sauce in my favorite blue Pyrex lasagna dish that had been in the oven, so I'm assuming it's heat proof. I've done this a lot. It was a thing that I did. I'd take it out, put it on the gas cooker and quickly just finish off the sauce or make a gravy or something like that. But suddenly I was prompted to leave the kitchen. You know, when you think, oh shit, leave the room and you think, why have I done that? Mm-hmm. What am I here for?
Yes.
That happened. As I stepped out of the kitchen, that Pyrex dish exploded.
Oh my God.
Shards of glass and hot liquid went all over the kitchen. There was not one part of this tiny kitchen that was not marked with glass and hot liquid. If I had been there, I would have been damaged, blinded. Anything could have happened to me. It would have been serious injuries if I'd stayed a moment longer. And to this day, I wonder what it was that urged me to walk out of the kitchen. It wasn't a voice. It was kind of like an urge that I had. And I genuinely feel like I was guided. Why I wasn't guided to turn the heat off, I don't know. Perhaps it was going to explode anyway because the heat had stored in it. Or maybe it was to teach me a lesson because I kept doing it. But I did feel very lucky as a result of this.
I think it was spirit, guardian angels, whatever you want to call it, gave you an intuition. Get the fuck out of that room.
Possibly. And Tameera often speaks about this, and I think you and I have spoken about it too, but seeing numbers, a sign, like 11:11, I tend to look at my clock every day at that same time. I don't know why. And just before we came up to do the recording, I looked at my clock to see what time we were about to start, and it was 11:11. 11:11. There was a band that did that on The Young Ones. Do you remember?
No, I don't.
11:11.
It sounds great. I mean, the fact that you burst into song, I often feel like I receive messages through song lyrics.
Right. Yes. I don't get that, but I do sometimes think of a song and then I hear it on the radio immediately after.
I get that
so it's
too.
like intuitive. What is a guardian angel? You have described it already, but from my research, it's described as a spiritual being assigned to protect and guide a particular person. And the idea goes back to Christianity, Judaism, especially those angels, because it's Old Testament, isn't it? Islam is also in on the angels, and even more in New Age and metaphysical circles, as was referenced by my sound bath last night. It's your own personal invisible bodyguard or a cosmic cheerleader, perhaps, whatever you want to make it, I suppose. According to many Muslims, Michelle, every person born has 2 guardian angels.
2?
One in front, one behind. But then they have 2 recorders, and I don't know what that is, the recorder of your, I don't know, existence, I suppose, located to the left and the right. So you are surrounded by angels in the Muslim religion, some believe.
Okay.
How do you know if you've got one? You've already said about the bits of feathers falling. According to Quora and Reddit and other digital realms, those who believe in guardian angels say that there are signs, which you've already said, the sense of comfort, the synchronicities, feeling a presence even though, you know, it's not creepy, dreams or visions, messages, all that kind of thing, voices. Some say their angel has a name, while others just get a vibe, like they're being watched over in a good way. But they do seem to be reserved to those who have religion in their lives, and I don't.
I disagree with that. I don't think you need to be religious to have a guardian angel. And as we talked about earlier, it's spirit also.
Okay, so that's semantics. But according to the Catholic Church, they have a pretty full job description, the angels, and it's way more than just floating around looking gorgeous and playing a harp. They plant good thoughts and nudge us towards the right path.
Thanks.
They've made dramatic appearances in the Bible, like at Jesus' birth and resurrection. Most of the time they just work quietly, though, behind the scenes as what feels like intuition or sudden inspiration. They also pray with us and for us, for those of us who pray. They amplify the prayers, so basically bump up the queue so God can deal with those ones first. Possibly, I don't know. They protect us physically and spiritually in dangerous situations, guard us from spiritual dangers like sneaky temptations and negative influences, and they reveal God's will. This is all about the religious angels, really. Yes. Like they say that the angels stopped Abraham from sacrificing Isaac, and then there was Gabriel announcing the birth of Jesus to Mary, and they show up sometimes as humans to help us to understand divine plans. They also stay with us at the moment of death. When someone dies, they're supposed to escort their soul and protect them from dark forces along the way. In the Bible, Lazarus was carried by angels to a peaceful place, while the rich man who ignored him went straight to hell. And if a soul ends up in purgatory, the guardian angel visits, brings comfort, and eventually when the soul's ready, they accompany them to heaven with a chorus of angels singing all the way. And they never stop praising God. So it's all very God-centric, these angels.
Yes.
The church agrees about the existence of personal or guardian angels, but they disagree on whether pagans or the unbaptized were entitled to guardian angels.
Oh.
And also when a guardian angel assumes its duty over someone's life. Some believe they are installed at baptism, where others believe that they appear at birth. There's also always a demon that arrives out of envy at the time of birth. So you have the devil and the angel on your shoulder all the way through your life. That's what some Christian philosophers believe.
I can kind of believe that, though, because I feel like it's very human to have temptation and the negative. You do feel drawn. Do I choose the good path? Do I choose the bad path? So
exactly. Traditional Christianity does believe in angels, and that's fine to do that. They're in the Bible. But some see conversing with them or reading angel cards as veering into occult territory. But I don't think you need to be religious to believe that something or someone is watching over you. On the other side of Christianity, we have our favourite witchy guy, Aleister Crowley, who was one of the most influential and controversial figures in modern esotericism. He lived between 1875 and 1947. We know this because we talk about him a hell of a lot. He founded the spiritual philosophy known as Thelema. Central to the Thelema philosophy is the concept of the holy guardian angel, which Crowley saw. And this is what I think. And while you were telling me about Lorna, I was thinking this. Crowley sees this as your highest, most authentic self, a kind of divine inner guide. This is why I like tarot cards, Michelle, because like Carl Jung and his archetype cards, I believe they're a tool not for predicting the future, but for accessing your own inner wisdom.
You know, the whole Jungian archetypes and dream therapy stuff that he was doing. I think you're right. It is about accessing wisdom that is locked to you because you are not open.
It's locked to you. You're not seeing it. Very much like your friend
Lorna Byrne
and her friend who didn't see the much requested feather. It was shadow. It was hidden from her.
In plain sight, she could not see it.
Exactly. Sometimes people need to separate themselves in parts to be able to access that knowledge, if you like. If they think of it as something else or someone else or another higher force, it's not them, then they can understand it, then they can accept the help.
Right. Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It's easier for someone else to be your cheerleader rather than you being your own cheerleader.
But to Crowley, the holy guardian angel was the same as other entities in philosophy, such as the genius from the Hermetic Order, which predates Crowley's. He was a member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That was an occult that was going on at the same time as Thelema. The Atman in Hindu philosophy and the daemon in ancient Greek thought. And he calls it one silent self.
Oh,
I like that.
One silent self.
But this doesn't stop people making money out of those prone to magical thinking.
Yes.
Wendy Ramos took to Quora to write something. Like you, I was on the Quoras and the Reddits trying to look for stories about guardian angels. But Wendy Ramos says, on the day you were born, 3 divine beings chose you. They've been watching over you all your life. I've had wonderful success with it. Now I'm more conscious of my angels' calls and guiding. To be able to understand the message when it's delivered to me. Not everyone is given an angel as a guardian. It's a great learning experience for a returning spirit to take on the job of protecting a human. They find out how hard it is to communicate with humans and how hard it is to influence them. Guardians change with changes in life. Children are often protected by elves and gnomes and fairies until they get older. These small spiritual creatures are especially effective in keeping evil spirits from interfering with children.
Ooh.
She goes on, but I'm going to skip forward because obviously she gave me a little link to press to find out who I was supposed to be when I was born and how to reconnect with my 3 archangels. So I tried. I pressed the button and I found out that I had Archangel Raziel as my life path guiding angel, Archangel Ariel as my Akashic angel, which is my life, if you believe in reincarnation, all my lives previous, and Archangel Haniel as the guardian angel. That's a woman. I just looked her up. They're all Old Testament angels. But to find out more, I gotta pay money.
She's making coin off that.
I have now unsubscribed. But do you remember those angel cards and the lady that created them, Doreen Virtue?
Oh,
we did
my
speak about her
God.
on a previous episode. Season 2, episode 1, in fact. Do you believe in fairies? We talked about her then.
Yes.
She was the angel lady of the New Age world. Made a lot of money from her brand of esotericism. Or was she just a snake oil salesman making money from a mix of beliefs?
I don't know, but she really was the mystic du jour at that time.
She was at the time, all those
Absolutely.
cards. To remind others, she built an empire in the 2000s with her angel oracle cards, which expanded into workshops, books, meditations. And if you were into angels, chances are you had a deck of her cards.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
She taught people how to talk to their angels, do readings, interpret signs from the spirit realm. Her work was big on love and light, high vibes, divine protection, and calling on help from archangels like Michael or Raphael. And it's likely that she made millions from her cards and related products. Her popularity, along with the high grossing sales of books and cards, suggests she turned over a substantial income.
Oh, yes.
But then she did a massive U-turn, as we've discussed previously. In 2017, Doreen publicly denounced her entire body of work. She'd had a Christian conversion, suddenly said, no more angels, no more cards, no more metaphysics. She called all her previous teachings dangerous and deceptive and said that they opened people up to the wrong spiritual influences. So now it's all Jesus and the Bible, and she urges people to actually burn her old books and cards, saying they're an abomination to God.
That is a massive born again resurrection,
Yeah.
Especially someone like her who made her fortune. Yeah. Her life was based on that stuff.
In her blog on her website, she says, when I was in the New Age, I thought I was doing God's work because people said they were comforted and helped by my cards. Now I realized I was being used by the devil. And I have repented and renounced my old work. Other people still sell my old work against my requests. However, much of it is going out of print and my name has been removed from these products. This left a lot of her followers confused, betrayed, heartbroken.
Of course.
Whether or not you see angels as divine protectors or metaphors for intuition or just a really lovely idea to hold on to when the world feels a bit scary, that's up to you, I believe.
It's your interpretation and
exactly.
It's what you want to get out of it.
The whole idea of somebody having your back, even if they are metaphysical, it's quite something for a lot of people who feel alone in the world.
Well, that's it. As I said before about Lorna Byrne, these angels make you not feel like you're alone. You have someone to talk to. You have somebody who's there for you. You have someone who is guiding you. Whether you believe it or not, I think, as you just said, people can get a lot of comfort if they believe, if their mind is open.
And if they were to open their mind a little more, they might even find that they have their own answers, that they are the ones. In fact, when I was doing my sound bath, I told myself that I loved myself, and that felt amazing. When have you truly told yourself, I love you, I've got you, I'm here for you?
It's not something I do on the reg.
Try it.
Give it a whirl. That's an interesting exercise. I wonder though, I mean, I guess there's no reason why I couldn't, but when I'm brushing my teeth, I love you. I'm thinking of other things. My mind's already out the door.
I wasn't brushing my teeth when I was doing it. I was in a ceremony.
You were in an environment that was conducive to actually being open, and the suggestion was given to you at a good time. Whereas I don't have that in my daily life. So where would I do it?
Well, no one does. And that's what I'm saying. Take the time. If you're going to take the time to fucking ask a guardian angel a question, why not take the time to get to know yourself better and understand that you're not just this thing moving through the world, that you've got someone in there who's also with you. It's yourself.
Yeah.
It's an interesting way of looking at it.
Definitely.
It's a different way of looking at the world, yourself, and being alone or lonely or having your own back.
But that takes confidence in yourself.
It doesn't take confidence. It takes belief, I guess, like you said, being able to take the time and look for the signs and get into the right zone. But if some people can't do that, then having this extra being watching them, it's good enough for now if it gets them through the day.
I think it gets them through difficult situations. I wonder though, if you say, I love myself, I've got you. For people who have felt physically pushed out of the way of something, what is that? I mean, I'm not saying it's an angel. I'm not saying it's anything. But is it yourself pushing yourself?
Could well be.
Those hands on your shoulders, they're not your hands. I mean, they're no hands.
A lot of people don't feel very connected to their body and don't feel things generally day to day if they're not taking the time to check in with themselves. I mean, I'm talking about things that take years and years and years to realize, because you become so separate from yourself in daily life.
Interesting. Well, it's because a lot of daily life is just getting through the day. Today, I've got a list with, I think, 37 things on it, and I'm crossing it off. I'm not thinking, I love myself. I'm not thinking about my angel.
Well, no, of course, you're not going to be thinking that, like, just generally minute
I'm
to minute.
thinking about just getting through the day. So,
but self-care, self-love, self-care, there's a lot to be said for it, and I'm going to keep going to these bloody sound baths, I tell you what. I'm getting a lot out of them.
Honestly, let me know when the next one is. I'm going to try and go. As long as I can take that weird hot water bottle that you've got that's like a pretend human.
The length of your body.
Probably longer than me, actually, your one.
It is. But listen, Michelle, you better go off and start ticking off some of those 37 things you've got to do.
Yes. Archangel, please, can you help me? I'm asking. And I'll take a feather as well.
Come and scrub a toilet for me.
Exactly.
Maybe you'll disassociate while you're doing it and then you'll turn around and it's just done.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? The little fairies, like in Cinderella, the little mice, they just do it for me.
If you've got mice in your toilet, then I think you've got more problems that you can just clean away.
Exactly.
You're going to need it. Pest control.
Oh, dear. Well, look, with that, Geordie, I think there's really only 3 things left to say.
Wherever you are,
whatever you do, just keep
eavesdropping.
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 Dropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Eavesdropping. Eavesdropping. Dropping. Dropping.